Well, Barbara, here we are again. And I have to tell you, you're one of my great heroes. Maybe the word is heroine, but I don't think anybody's ever done more for this community than you have. And a month or so ago, you invited me down to the Legal Aid Center, and I have to tell you that I was blown away. I knew that it was exciting and really wonderful to see, but talk to us about that and where it's going and what you've accomplished so far.
Well, we're thrilled to have been able to move into a new center downtown, right at 725 East Charleston. Our garage will be finished soon, and I look forward to a grand opening sometime here in the near future. But what it enabled us to do is to centralize our operations. We had grown so large, we were in 2 buildings, we were scattered, the clients would have to go from building to building. So we centralized and expanded. I think that the room that blows us away the most there is our new classroom. So we offer anywhere from 10 to 15 legal classes a week that are free for anyone needing legal information, whether it's divorce, bankruptcy, guardianship, small claims court, you name it, we offer it there. Before, we just didn't have any space to do it. All of the classes were being offered at UNLV. Now we have room to serve the community.
I didn't understand anything like the scope of what you've got and the amount of money that you had raised and where you got it, and you're very good at that, by the way. So talk about that for a moment, because I think people sometimes think that one of these projects is $500,000, but you're multiples of that.
Yeah, multiples of that. I mean, the land alone was $3 million, and the building itself is 35,000 square feet, which is, a huge new center, and that doesn't count the parking garage. Customers, our clients will now have a place to park, as well as our staff, and it just could not have happened without the co-chairs of our campaign, Dick Morgan and Bill Boyd, 2 more, wonderful men, you've never seen. They did an amazing job, and we're so grateful, especially to the Engelstead Foundation, the Lead Foundation, the Boyd Foundation, and numerous other companies, lawyers, individuals. We received donations from $20 to $250,000 to over $5 million from the Engelstead Foundation.
So it's all paid for at this point?
100% paid for. We're thrilled. We're raising a little money for our reserve, but we're just so grateful to the community. And you've talked about this all the time. We hear so much negativity, but there are amazing people in this community that step forward to help us.
What type budget do you have?
Our budget now is about $8 million. The largest part of what we do is representing abused kids. We're representing 1,600 abused children in this community, and we're their voice in court. So, they don't want to be pulled out of grandma's house. They want to stay with their brother no matter what. These are the kinds of things we advocate for. We represent kids who are having problems with the school district. They're trying to get accommodations for their disability. They have autism, for example. We had a big case with the school district where they were requiring parents to pay for tutors for their autistic kids, and then the school district would reimburse them. Well, that works well if you have the money, but if you're poor, if you're lower middle class, where do you get that? So now the process has been reversed, so parents don't have to do that any longer. So a good deal of what we do involves children.
What size staff do you have?
Well, our staff now, when you count all of our law students from the magnificent William S. Boyd School of Law, is about 80. Staff attorneys, just attorneys on staff, we have 31. And we also have volunteer attorneys. We have some of the best attorneys in the city who volunteer with us. We just launched a new campaign with the Supreme Court and the State Bar. It's called the One Campaign, where we're going after lawyers and saying, just take one case from us, just one. One promise to one Nevada client.
People have such a bad habit of building X number of square feet because that's what they need today,
yep,
and they don't have any future going forward. How have you looked at that, and what is your potential for continuing to grow?
Well, our board decided that we would build for growth because we're not finished. There are 1,600 children I said we're representing. That's half of the kids in the foster care system, and we're not going to rest until we have a voice for every single one of them. And so we have built to enable more staff to be hired to serve more in the community. Next year, we're going to be launching more efforts to help veterans and exploited seniors. And you know, there's nothing worse. Someone saves their entire life, they build up their nest egg, and then they're a victim of exploitation. All their money is taken. You know, it's cruel. If you're accused of a crime, right, you have a right to an attorney. But what if you saved your entire life, you have a nest egg of $25,000, someone takes it? We're going to start a new pro bono program where we help exploited seniors.
Tomorrow, let's talk more about your programs and what you offer and what the future is on those. Appreciate you being here. I always do.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks. You know, so many people just don't have an idea of the services that you offer. So they're sitting out there with this huge problem, and they don't know where to go. So give me an example of what you do and how you do it, the type of person that you provide to help, and who do you expect to help?
You know, our cases are so varied. You know, for example, I think the community's attention was riveted by the Martinez family. An intruder broke into their home, assaulted and murdered the wife and a 10-year-old girl. The husband, Arturo, woke up, you know, the next day. His son ran to school for help. Arturo came to us needing help, you know, with family members had filed competing custody actions while he was in the rehab. He needed a will before he went through surgery so that he knew if anything happened to him, his children would be taken care of. He was underwater with his house, but how do you go back to a house where such unimaginable horror took place? You know, they couldn't go back. So those are the types of things we do. We were able to negotiate with the bank, and they actually deeded his house to him, Bank of America. We were able to help him with a will. We were able to help him, you know, get the guardianship actions dismissed. And you never know what's going to walk in your door. But our clients are people in this community who work hard, they do everything right, and most of the time they never imagine that they'll be in the spot. It can also be just as simple as buying a car and thinking you got an okay car, and you drive it off the car lot and the engine falls out. And you know, they bring it back and say, I put my life savings, $3,000 on this car, and now it won't drive. And they say, you know, too bad. We have one lawyer who's an expert at car cases. So you never know what's going to walk in the door. But the average client is anything from a working person to a senior. Whether it's a car problem, a foreclosure, a bankruptcy, mostly they're due to medical bills where they didn't have health insurance, they got cancer, and they have $100,000 worth of medical bills. They, you know, have they're in remission, they go back to work, and they're garnished 25% of their income for their medical bills, and they can't make their rent. That's someone we help.
You know, you and I talked about the range of salaries that your people get and the qualifications that they've got. And when I look at it, I say, oh my God, these people who are doing that, the young lawyers that you've got, what dedicated people they must be.
They are amazing. I mean, they are true believers. They think law should be used to help people in need, and they want to see a level playing field for people. So they're not interested really in making, you know, millions and working for the high highfalutin corporations. They want to help people in need. And so we attract, brand new lawyers, and then we also attract people, it's their second and third career, where they say, I'm tired of doing all that private sector stuff. I want to really help people. And so we have the best staff of any law office in the city.
Well, I know I met the range of lawyers that you've got, and I'm talking about mostly from an experience basis, but the people that you've got at the top end, if that's the right word I should use, are just world class.
Yeah, it seemed just like yesterday where it was, me and 2 lawyers, but now with a staff of nearly 80, we have directing attorneys for each one of our units. So we have our children's attorneys project, our domestic violence and family law project, our consumer rights project, and then we run 2 self-help centers, one at the RJC courthouse, and we just took over the family law self-help center in the family courthouse. And the people we have running each one of these projects have decades of experience, and they're the best there is, and then they get to train and mentor all of the new attorneys that we bring on. And our law students from the William S. Boyd School of Law. We receive some fabulous talent from that law school. And our latest lawyer we just hired clerked with us while she was at Boyd, and is now our newest member of our domestic violence project.
Tomorrow, would you mind talking specifically about some of your people, like Joe Smith, what he does, what he's brought to you? Let's do that.
Okay.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Barbara, I'm going to give you a blank check, and it's going to say you may have, or you may talk about any of the lawyers or all of the lawyers that you've got there that you think have really done a super job. And I'm not taking away from the rest of them, but give us some examples.
Well, probably I would start with Dan Wools. Dan is our Deputy Executive Director, and he's the head of our Consumer Rights Project. So he's been with us since '94. And he was a partner in a Topeka, Kansas law firm. And I think he just got tired of it after a number of years there. So he's probably done more for consumer protection than anybody else in this state. He has litigated car cases. So people, who bought cars from dealerships, were sold a bill of goods, misrepresentation, Dan won. He began to see rebuilt wrecks flooding into the community where, they were in floods in other communities. They washed the title so you couldn't tell it was in a flood, and then they sold it to somebody. We had a young family purchased a van, and it wouldn't steer right. It would go off the side of the road. It was undrivable because it was a rebuilt wreck. So Dan, couldn't get any recourse from the dealership, sued, got a great settlement for her, and then went to Carson City and changed the law. So now any consumer in the state of Nevada can see the history of where their car was. So if it was in a bad wreck or a flood, you now know it because of Dan. So, that's kind of the breadth of the work that our people do.
I would think that just a phone call from him would now be enough because of the things that he's done in the past where, oh my God, the man is on the phone, you better get this straightened out.
Yeah, I think his biggest compliment was when a car dealer here came to our office to meet him. He gave him his business card with his cell phone number on it, and he said, please, never sue me again, just call. And then we have some other dealers in town, that's always their MO. They say, hey, look, if one of my salespeople does something, I want to know about it because I want to fix it. We have a couple like that too, but yep, they know him by name.
Talk about another expert that you've got. Pick anybody that you'd like.
Probably, I'll talk about Lynn Atkins a little bit. Lynn was the first person we hired to run our pro bono project. And at the time, we were placing about 5 cases a month pro bono. And she rebuilt the project, and now we place about 60 new cases a month. We have a new director that has come in, And then we have thousands that are served with Ask a Lawyer programs. She also headed the campaign to raise the money for our new center. So we would not be where we are today